How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Good morning, and good morning to cherished listeners and viewers.
What happened at the Accra Mall?
Right. Last Saturday, we raided Accra Mall, where there was an exhibition of some pharmaceuticals and cosmetics. Prior to this, we gathered intelligence with our sister agency, that's the Pharmacy Council, and we decided that during the exhibition, we will go with our team with the support of Ghana Police to verify what exactly, or to verify the products that are being offered for sale, and that if the products have been registered by the Food and Drug Authority, and also if the practitioners have been licensed by the Pharmacy Council as the law requires.
Now, these things that you picked, I'm sure that you also picked some of the owners of the shops or the exhibitors. What's going to happen to them?
Well, like I mentioned earlier, I went to the police service. Basically, their role was to provide protection and also to gather evidence to assist in if we should decide to prosecute them. So the police, after the raid, took statements from the suspects that were picked. We're going to look at that. Samples will be sent to the FDA lab for analysis. We'll check our data if these products have been registered or not. Then a docket will be put together by the police and AG will advise from there.
This raid, I'm sure that it was your surveillance and intelligence that brought it to your attention for you to act upon it. But the Accra Mall will not be the only place where these things are happening. By and large, you go into our market, you still have Sudan dye in what do you call it, in palm oil. You have formalin in the opoku and stuff that we eat, and many other adulterations that are happening on the market. The voices on the streets are asking, why are you targeting the places where it literally doesn't affect a lot of people, and you are not targeting what we actually consuming into our bodies?
Oh, we've been doing a lot. Maybe we just don't come out with what we've been doing behind the scenes. For instance, last November, a team was in the Eastern region and Western region sampling palm oil and testing it for Sudan dye. Our port services also do sample palm oil earmarked for export. We test them for Sudan dye. Those that test positive for the Sudan dye are seized and safely disposed of. Unfortunately, we cannot always come to the media with such activities. That's how come we don't get to hear of it. Coming to read on those selling or peddling medicines on the street, something that we've been doing very often with the law enforcement unit of the Ghana Police Service. So it's an ongoing exercise. It's not something that we go to sleep and come back to. So
the first question that comes to mind after hearing you and saying that you've been doing this over and over again is, how then did these products get onto our market if you've been vigilant with your surveillance?
Well, we all agree that our borders are not too secured. We get to have our traders coming in and out with all manner of things. So that's one aspect. And some of these products, we realize that they are also locally manufactured. So the awareness is being created that, look, if you want to do business in this regulated product, come to FDA, come and register. We'll certify as to whether it's okay or not. If we think they are below standard, we'll guide you to, achieve the expected standard so that you can do business legitimately, not illegally, and for us to come after you as and when we think we can.
What's the next step with the Accra Mall people? Because now people will be thinking, should I go there? What is approved? What is not approved? How would the populace know and bring back their confidence in Accra Mall? Because Accra Mall is not just one shop. It's a combination of shops that, rent their space and ply their business. So, again, I'm worried about the sustainability of the businesses. What does the FDA have to say?
Oh, well, like I mentioned earlier, we're screening the products. If they are registered with the FDA, we'll release them to the owners. But those that are not registered, obviously we have to seize them for safe disposal.
I thank you very much indeed for your time. We're grateful.
And thanks too.
Okay. Yeah. That's the head of enforcement of the FDA, Mr. Shen, speaking to us right here on Sunrise on 3FM. Now, Dulcie Boateng is an avid Snapchat user, often referred to as a queen of Snapchat. She had some of her partners arrested by the police on Saturday, April 20, 2024. Dulcie had organized an informal sales event dubbed the Porials Pitch around the Accra Mall area, leading to heavy vehicular traffic on the Achimota to the Accra Mall stretch of the N1 highway. According to an investigative reporter, Kwesi Kwaranting, who was among the group that triggered the arrest, most of the products that were on sale at the fair were not duly registered by relevant state agencies. The source revealed that about a dozen of the organizers were picked up by the police in collaboration with the Pharmacy Council of Ghana and the Food and Drugs Authority, FDA. Emma Jane Marking is a managing partner, Marking, and associate secretary for the Africa Forum in International Bar Association. Is a law spokesperson for Kwesi Kwaranting. Joins us on the phone line. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you, madam?
Fine, thank you. And you?
Great. I'm greater than Accra. Your client, he blew the whistle and had some persons arrested for what is now the claim that they were selling unapproved products. And social media have not been kind to him at all. They say, well, he brought this upon them, so they will go after him as well. What do you say?
I think that would be a little misguided on the part of the social media users, because I was there present. I was present at the fair, and I realized that a lot of the products were unapproved, so nobody knows what is in there. There was something called Kitty Karma called boric acid, and it's written on it suppository. Now everybody knows what a suppository is. It goes in the back and not in the front. But this was for the front. So, there are little things that need to be streamlined before products are put on the market. And it becomes dangerous if we are not careful. I was even tempted to buy a few because I was amazed at the kind of products there. And I think that if I was tempted, even knowing the law, the ordinary man or the woman on the street would buy it without thinking about the implications or the side effects of these products. And when it comes to the law, the law clearly states that you cannot advertise, manufacture, or sell any product that hasn't been approved by the FDA, especially if it's for medical purposes or consuming. When you have to consume it. So, people being unkind when someone is actually looking out for the ordinary man in Ghana is it's a bit worrying.
Your client, this would not be the first. His investigation is done regarding pharmaceutical products and products of this nature, because I've had an opportunity to work with him before on something. But why does he delight in doing these things? Because on the flip side, the entrepreneurs who are trying to exhibit these products also think that he's putting sand in their gari and he's not making them make what they want to make. It's a tricky issue, but where do we draw the fine line?
I think Kwesi Kwaranting's position is that if you want to do your business, he has absolutely no problem. But do it the right way.
If they come at you with suits, would you survive?
Of course. You have broken the law. You have broken the law, and it's clear. We didn't just get up today and then go after these guys. They have been monitored for months, since last year.
So your client did nothing wrong?
Absolutely not.
Ima, I want to thank you. I want to thank you very much indeed for your time this morning. We're grateful that you could speak to us, and give our best to Akwesi for me.
I will.
Great.
Have a nice day.
You too. That's Imagine Marking, Managing Partner, Marking and Associate Secretary for the Africa Forum in International Bar Association. It's a lawyer and spokesperson for Akwesi Kranting, the investigative journalist who triggered this. Helen, did you buy any of the products?
I most certainly did not, but I'm bombarded by a lot of these adverts on specifically the app Snapchat.
Right.
Go there on any given day and you can purchase these potions and lotions willy-nilly. They're all claiming to either enhance one part of your body or whatever the case may be. All sorts. As for those ones, they're plenty. There's some that come in the form of tablets. You have syrups that, I think like honey, creams. And so
Plaster.
If you just go on the app Snapchat, you can buy almost anything on there. They say rush now. This is something enhancer, something enlarger, something. You don't know what you're ingesting. You go out and you purchase some of these potions. You could be putting your health in serious danger. I'm not going to purchase something that hasn't been vetted and approved because of the sake of my health. And also, let's be real. I'm just speaking to the young ladies here. These enhancers and enlargers, largely, it's just fluff. They can't do that for you. Is
it a societal construct where society pushes people to say, okay, if you have a flat backside, for example, then you are not part of the equation.
Oh, yes.
If your hips are small, you are not fair,
all of those
you are
things.
Not slim thick, you are not this, you are not that, then people are forced to go and
is that social capital, especially for the young ladies, that they think they'll get once they indulge in some of these enhancers. Having a big backside, it's largely due to weight gain, genetics, maybe heavy lifting at the gym, and even that is limited. There is no cream, young ladies, that you are going to apply on your backside that will magically enlarge it by up to 3 or 4 times as advertised.
I hear people are injecting monosodium glutamate.
Goodness.
Yeah, monosodium glutamate. They inject it at their backsides. It's Maggie.
And they just and this seeps into your blood, into your body, travels anywhere in your body, and so some of these things also take it with a pinch of salt. Even for the men, all these enhancers and last longer. Come on. There are natural ways to go about certain things, and some things are impossible. Me like this,
hey,
I'm not going to buy any enhancer. It will not work for me. So I'm not going to buy any pill or pill. It's genetics. Or you go to the gym, you lift weights, or you go and surgically enhance it. What cream, Papa Bang, are you going to apply either top or bottom that you wake up and it has? And how?
Mercy cream. Oh my God. Ghana, my motherland. A very interesting country.
On this vest issue, I have always asked for regulatory matters. You see, when you go to Ghana Standards
Authority
or FDA, it's for your own good.
Right.
It's for your own good. As a lawyer, where I see it, failure to get each one of these licenses or approval is an offense. You understand?
Yes.
It's an offense. So it's even in your own interest that you do or you get this approval for the sake of tomorrow. Now, on the health issue, why would you want to put something in you, right, where there is no regulatory approval? Where, you see, if I go and take paracetamol or aspirin from any of these
recognized pharmaceutical shops
and there's a problem,
companies, right?
And there's a problem, your lawyer can even sue.
Right.
Your lawyer can sue for negligence. And in many developed countries, some of these class suits or class action suits have yielded huge monetary compensation for persons affected by those. You understand? So from the consumer point of view, it's even in your own interest, right, to do that. Now you, the person selling, put yourself on the other side.
In the shoes of the consumer.
In the shoes of the consumer. That would I consume the very product I'm selling? Right? You claim you are selling a product. Would you consume the very product you are selling if you are put on the other side? Assuming.
Microphone, please.
Assuming the final consumer knows everything about the product that you yourself know about the products you are selling, would you consume it? That's the first fundamental question. Do unto others how you want
to be done to you.
To be done to you. So the product you are selling, would you yourself consume it, knowing that this and that is how it was prepared? If you're not, don't do it.
I think that a lot of public education needs to go into these areas.
When you say a lot of public education, I mean, it's so fundamental that some of these regulatory agencies, there's so much inertia on their part. They need to up the game. Look, on the television, you see somebody will come in a dream, sasabro, this. You mention, or if you ask the person's certification, none. And as for the craze by, I mean, the trendy, citizens now, somebody wants to enhance one part of the body, want to do this, want to do this. If you go online, you see videos of persons who have gone through this and the health implications. It's terrible. It's terrible.
It's terrible indeed.
Where I am now, I fear my heart, my lungs,
your kidney, and your
my
liver.
kidney and my liver. These four, anything that can compromise them, I am careful.
Indeed, 12 minutes after 9 here on 3FM 92.7. You can always join us with your thoughts and comments. We're live on Facebook at 3FM 927. We're also on Twitter or X, Instagram, and on WhatsApp. And you know the number, 05322000927, 05322000927. You can always share your thoughts with us, and we will share that with the rest of the wonderful world. Council, BVD, machines, Electoral Commission, the back and forth. Have you sent the petition yet to the Electoral Commission? The last time I heard Mustafa Gbande and Fifi Kwete, they were asking for an audit to be done. What is the latest?
Yeah, so as you rightly pointed out, the party, first from the minority leader, raised this issue about the biometric machines, the missing one. Initially, the Electoral Commission denied it. You understand? Their initial response was a flat denial. Then they realized that the denial wasn't going to work. Okay, the denial wasn't going to work. We insisted. So they called for an emergency IPAC meeting. Then we intercepted a memo written from the head office to all their regional directors. Essentially, if you read the memo, it talks about some missing 28 of those machines. So we became even more alarmed and gave the indication that the Electoral Commission must come out. So we went to an IPAC meeting and they confirmed. Subsequently, there was communication from the EC that they have arrested some people and they have been put before the courts and they have been prosecuted. So again, it now provided us what you call corroborative, piece of evidence that at least the concerns raised initially were not fanciful, they were grounded, and that the Electoral Commission. Now we have moved a step further by asking the Electoral Commission for a probe, an audit. Let's have an audit. In 2020, the Electoral Commission decided to create a new register. Obviously, there was some opposition, but they insisted that they wanted to create a new register. And for that matter, the BVDs and others that we had, they said no. They wanted to go and purchase new ones.
Right.
They ended up spending $74 million on that project to create the new register in the year 2020. So these are relatively new machines. And you see, these machines are not manufactured, like you don't buy them off the shelf.
They're specifically configured for you.
Configured. And the other thing too is that, you see, the electronic election management software allows you to even configure polling stations, constituency names, region, among others, all into the software. And so it is not just machines, but even laptops. What's the level of data protection? Because these are individual data on these machines.
Correct.
So we need to find where they are. So we are clear in our minds that there are no compromises. That's all that we are asking for. And these things are geared towards the overall integrity, the fairness of the election. And look, let me tell you something. I've been part of our election process for well over 20 years. And I can tell you something. Election is garbage in, garbage out.
That's correct.
Yes.
That's correct.
Election is garbage in, garbage out. So if the initial process is compromised, what will come out will be a compromise. And I'll give you a classic example. So whilst you are here, you can say all the things that you want to say about this government. If you are not a registered voter, on the day of voting, it doesn't matter how vociferous you are, you won't vote.
It's as simple as that.
It's as simple as that. So it is garbage in, garbage out. So the process of registration is as equally important as the day you'll be going to vote. So if there are any compromises from the beginning, the transmission mechanism picks out to the very last end. And that is why I've always prayed for a system that allows for transparency. That's what an audit will bring out.
I had a quick question
Please go ahead.
on this specifically. I wanted to take us a few steps back because when this story first broke, there was some issue about what type of laptops these were. So that the EC eventually, after coming out, they said, oh, these are laptops that don't have much information or in fact any information on them, and so as a citizenry we shouldn't be too alarmed. After which we had our own discussions with members of the minority caucus in parliament, and they said, well, these laptops form part of the BVD, so it's all a big, shall I say, structure, if you will. You take out one component, you still compromise the whole thing. Has there been any update on that? Has the EC provided any further and better particulars about the kinds of laptops, or are they maintaining that we shouldn't worry about it?
Ms. Ampofo, exactly the point. That's all that we are asking for. Let's allow for an audit, right? It's like a stock-taking exercise. And see, what do you have now? What is it that you don't have? And you see, thankfully, the Electoral Commission, its budget is treated special.
Special Budget Committee.
So there's a Special Budget Committee of Parliament that handles these independent constitutional bodies, their budgets. For security reasons, unless it's necessary, you don't want to disclose, among other things. Nobody debates military budgets openly, or, military budgets openly, unless it is so necessary to have that kind of disclosures. And so the Special Budget Committee, last year, 2023, the Electoral Commission appeared before it and provided what they call its work plan up to 2024. In fact, the work plan even goes up to 2025. And what they will need at every stage and what they intend to do and the budgetary allocation. Ordinarily, institutions, when they appear before such budget committees, they get slashes here, drop this, do this. But Electoral Commission had everything they asked for. The whole idea is that all members of parliament are interested in having a free and fair parliamentary and presidential election. And so they all want to ensure what you call process integrity. The process itself must have integrity. And that depends on the skills and the kits that are used.
So up to now, if I ask you if you believe in the integrity of the processes that the Electoral Commission is putting together towards the 2024 elections, what would you say?
My answer is a no.
Because?
I have no belief.
Because?
All these are outstanding matters. All these are, where are the machines? 28 BVDs. Where are they? Whose responsibility is it to keep these things where they are? These are fiscal materials. So if I'm leaving this studio and I say, Johnny, I'm leaving my phone with you, and I come back and the phone is not there, I should be concerned.
You should be. Yes. Rightly so.
Now, what more integrity is there when you can't keep this phone for me? It's under your watch, 24/7. Then you come and tell me some people have stolen it. How?
But Mr. Tete of the Electoral Commission says that, well, we should not be too alarmed because really people cannot use this remotely and without plugging into the server and all of that. What do you say to that?
You see,
he's been former director of electoral services of the Electoral Commission before Dr. Kweku took over.
If you cannot ensure the safety of this equipment, why should I trust you that the entire system is safe in your hands? You see, election matters are not like an event. It's a process. A process that may terminate somewhere. If there's a glitch, a slight problem at one stage, you can't tell me that, oh, you are sure that the final product will be well. You can't. Right?
When do you want this audit done?
Immediately.
But the Electoral Commission has received your petition and has not acted upon it.
Immediately they should. And so we are calling. See, the 2024 election is a very crucial election. Very, very crucial. And from our end, it's a make or break. Where I sit as the Director Legal of the Legal Directorate of the NDC, the 2024 election is a make or break. And so no compromises. No compromises. I want to encourage the Peace Council, the Council of States, the various embassies, the various missions with vast interest, both investment and what have you, in this country, to, as it were, wake up to this call. We do not want a situation where we'll get to the point where we say, had I known. The cost of auditing these materials is relatively cheaper compared to any other consequence. Relatively cheap.
The Electoral Commission...
I believe that we must all go into the 2024 election with a very clear mind, that, you know what, we've ticked all and let's go.
If, for example, the Electoral Commission does the audit, clears the doubts, finds the machines, would that be enough? Because earlier you had raised questions about some known MPP persons who had been injected into the Electoral Commission.
Yes. So, for instance,
so does this BVD matter clear that one out, or what?
That's what I said about process integrity. You see, yes, our election processes are manual. but they also have an electronic or IT base, right? So you have a situation where a known commissioner, a computer scientist who lectures computer science at UNE, a known MPP communicator, suddenly gets appointed by the president upon the advice of the Council of State to go and be at the Electoral Commission. I mean, it's like Accra House of Folk going to play football, and Miss Ampofo here knowing that the referee is a known supporter of Accra House of Folk. Today, when goals get scored, the goal can be disallowed by the benefit of a video assistance referee. Right. Remember that the video assistant referee also has a human interface. At the end of the day, it's the humans who interpret.
That's right.
And bring the verdict.
That's right.
So we are going into a game. The person who is by the VAR is a non-Accra House of Folk supporter. Kotoko has scored a decisive goal. Then the referee said, no, we want to go and check the VAR. Upon a check, they come back and say, you know what? The goal is disallowed.
By a fanatic of Accra House of Folk who is looking at the screen of the VAR to say that Kotoko didn't.
Yeah, didn't. That this goal is not a goal.
And the referee takes his advice.
At the VAR. So that is how you must look at the election. Unfortunately, we do not have a president who believes in democracy.
Oh, you can't say that.
No. You see, we have been so soft on Mr. Akufo-Addo, and he had destroyed the countervailing forces in a democracy. Now, when you get to that stage, effectively what you're going to have is a demagogue. And that is where we have elevated Akufo-Addo to. Nana Yenkamasem.
Oh, Duji.
Yes. No, look, you see, democracy is democracy simply because they are countervailing forces. And so in the glorious words of the lives of Montesquieu and Co., if you look, you read Hobbes, the Leviathan, and the rest, the state of nature. They say we don't want to be there. Because in the state of nature, might is right. Right? Might is right.
That's right.
So you'll be at home, I'll come, I'll dispossess you. And I said, I'm mighty. Can you fight me? I am right. I can dispossess you. Then we all came back, and the lives of Montesquieu said, no, let's have what we call separation of powers. We do not want all the powers to reside in one individual. So separation of powers. The executive, legislature, judiciary. So two scholars have written a book, How Democracies Die. You should read it. Weaponization of state institutions. It's a classic way of killing democracy. And how do you do that? So you know that, there's an election. It's supposed to be fought between me and my opponent.
92.7.
I am the president. So what do? Johnny that I know is your known supporter. I put Johnny there to supervise the election between the two of us. So whereas it bears the form of a democratic process, beneath is the fact that it's a sham.
It's already cooked.
It's cooked. They're rigged. So you can actually use democratic institutions to rig the benefit of democracy.
And who do you say is doing that? The president? Oh, how? But the Electoral Commission is independent.
Good. Functionally independent. But when you put known political assigns to be in charge of an independent institution, remember that that independence operates with the mind of people.
Aside the two people who were put in there, no, there were three, a reverend minister and two others.
As we speak, the kid sister of the Maslock CEO is the electoral commissioner. The last time, the sister even contested for Yendi, right?
Right.
The parents are known MPP operatives in Northern Region. In fact, the mom used to be MPP Regional Women Organizer. You put the person there, right? You put the person there. And look, we don't say this be out of malice. We are equally concerned. Johnny, we are equally concerned.
What about?
Because you see, why do you think I'll go into an election knowing that my opponents' stand supporters are the gatekeepers? Why would I want to go into that election? I'll go to the streets. So invariably, you are killing what? Democracy.
But Edju, what do you have to say to critics who say you are merely preparing the ground in the event that there is a defeat? That way you can say that, well, these are the reasons why we didn't make it. Because if the overwhelming majority of Ghanaians, as I've heard a lot of the minority players say, support the NDC returning to power, then no amount of machinations or, behind the scenes workings will cost you the election.
So I'll tell you something. Elections, like I stated earlier, is garbage in, garbage out. In election, there's something we call gerrymandering. The word gerrymandering is like somebody's name, and it had been corrupted. And this was, I think, a Massachusetts governor. So what he does is that he watches the demographics, and he knows that in this particular area of Massachusetts, there are a lot of blacks. These blacks will not vote for me. There are a lot of Hispanics. They won't vote for me. So when it comes to preparing the electoral roll, because out of the electoral roll, when I say roll, like the register, it's out of the register that people will come and vote.
That's correct.
Right.
Correct. So he deliberately skews the processes by way of what we call redistricting. So blacks, they'll put in impediment to ensure that the number that are registered.
You don't register.
And remember that it was just until the late 1950s or so that women started voting, even in mighty US.
Yes.
So a politician, knowing that my policies are harming a lot of women, will ensure that women will not vote. Once he puts in place the mechanism to ensure that a lot of women are not registered, it doesn't matter what the outcome will be.
They will not
Now
vote.
look at where the Electoral Commission, per its own law says that before it starts registration, right, it must designate a place as a polling station. But in considering this studio as a polling or registration center, it must consider suitability, proximity, accessibility. Okay. Now, the Electoral Commission, Jane Mensah and her people, now decide that we'll do the registration in only district offices. Let me give a classic example. North Tong, the district capital is Bato, but the constituency extends up to Juapong. You know Juapong?
Not well.
From
It's from
Atimpoku,
the eastern region.
eastern region going to Volta.
You are going onto the bridge.
Meanwhile, the district capital is just around Sege, Bato here. So you are telling somebody to move from Juapong right to Sege to be registered as a voter. What you have done is that you have used law to deny that person the opportunity to be registered, even though you have not done anything more.
In the face of the law,
In the face of
you are
the
not
law,
wrong.
everything looks right.
I mean, even that was contested because you talk about proximity, and that was an issue that came up about people who couldn't even get that close. So I'm not even sure it was fully.
So the inaudible motive, the bigger inaudible
real
motive
is voter suppression.
Right.
But he does it intelligently. You won't see it on the face of the law. But when you go to the ground, so I am in Domekwabenya. The district is called Gan East Municipality. The district capital is at Abokobi. The constituency stretches up to Taifa, Jonte.
Yeah.
Right, the Fanko interchange area.
Right.
That's where the
before you bend into the road, you turn into the road.
And then goes right to the mountain, Eburi Mountain. That's the extent of the constituency.
Very large.
Then Peace FM, the old Peace FM.
Right.
That's the end. Dome Market. Now you are asking somebody to move from Dome, old Peace FM, to Abokobi to get a voter's card.
What is the motivation?
What is the motivation? What's the motivation? Because the person sits down and does the analysis. Maybe I may go, they'll say, Q this. I may not even get it that day, or this, so I won't go again. What you have done is to deny the person the opportunity to participate in the election.
Gerrymandering.
That's gerrymandering.
But Lawyer DG, this would affect persons who are affiliated to all the different parties, not just the minority
but you see,
NDC.
at this point, I don't know who.
Okay.
So I don't want to ask it to say, these are MPP people, so it can happen. I'm speaking from a fair, neutral position. I don't care who gets registered. Whether it's an MPP, CPP,
but
I don't
everybody
care.
must have their chance.
Everybody must be there to have a say at the final day.
Thank you, Eduji.
So you see how just the manipulation of law is enough to turn the outcome.
Let's move away from this one. Sure. I think we have had enough on this one. Quickly, before you check out, we have a conversation with BNFT. But this is Dr. Kofi Amoah, Citizen Amoah. He says, listen to the insensitive arguments by the MPP to be allowed by the suffering citizens of Ghana to remain in power. Here is their record. Bankrupt economy, largest debt, highest inflation, worst CD, highest joblessness, corruption. Is Dr. Amoah not being too hard on the government?
You see, and you have even put it well. When you send your child to school, at the end of the month or year or term, the child comes back with a scorecard.
A terminal report.
In this terminal report, you want to assess his performance in English language, blah, 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 blah. What is the state of the economy today? Bankrupt. The state of the economy today is bankrupt.
Our scorecard is bankrupt.
Bankrupt. Look, organized labor, led by the TUC, have put out notices that they intend embarking on a strike action on the 3rd of May. Reason: about their 8 months of Tier 2 contributions government have defaulted. That's national security risk. We are talking about excess of over 1 billion Ghana cedis, owed to 700,000 government workers. Do you know what it means for 700,000 people to say they are going on strike? That's a bankrupt economy. Today, as we speak, this government is still undertaking, or has undertaken, the DDEP, the Domestic Debt Exchange Program. We don't have the money. Meanwhile, this is a government that told investors that, we'll soon be doing 500,000 barrels of crude every day. Investors believe and bought our bonds. Today, we are telling those investors that we do not have the capacity to repay. And so we'll give you haircuts. How different is the Akufo-Addo model, the Akufo-Addo Bawumia model, from Namwan's model, business model?
Oh, come on. Come on. How do you put the two together? How do you equate one to the other?
What has Namwan been doing?
So give me your money, I will buy gold, invest, give you the returns, right? That's what he said he would do.
Has he given them the returns?
Oh, some people chop some.
Is that not why we are where we are? What has this government done? You give prospectus, giving indication that this is how the economy will look. So buy my bond, Esla bond, Dachi bonds, totaling 11 billion in the space of 6 years. If you add a Franklin Templeton bond to it,
2.5
that is
million.
$13 billion. Even today at the exchange rate of 13 Ghana, how much is that? People gave you their hard-earned currency, money. They lived their life. And we're looking at tomorrow. So they decided that, okay, let's buy, because of the traditional notion that government securities are secured. They bought these bonds, these securities. Now, time for you to pay us back. You say, I cannot pay.
But nobody saw COVID coming. Nobody saw Russia and Ukraine fighting. That's what the government says.
No, but what has that got to do? We went into the Eurobond market before COVID came. We did 2017, 2018, 2019. Was there COVID? Was there COVID in 2019? Or government anticipated COVID? You cannot blame COVID for government's inability to service its debt.
Okay.
And so Kofi Annan is simply saying that today, this economy, high inflation, at a point our inflationary rate went as far as 54%. At that time, I think we were better than only Sudan and Zimbabwe. Today, as we speak, our debt to GDP ratio, do you know that as of 2016, if you're a Ghanaian, your share of our public debt was 3,700. Today, we are doing 20,000.
Nothing to be proud of. Eduji, we thank you very much for your
Miss
time.
Ampofo here is indebted 20,000.
She doesn't like the idea.
No, not at all. I know.
You owe 20,000.
I don't owe anything, please.
I owe 20,000.
Don't put.
My brother here who is smiling owes 20,000.
Don't put anything or else won't pay anything.
Where is Sisters? Sisters also owe 20,000. Ghana. From 3,700.
We don't owe anything. We beg you.
You can't run away from your debt.
We were not part of the chop. We beg you.
So
please.
you see, if you put all of this, and so I can close on this.
Right.
On your Johnny's Bite today, you played a video and I was sad.
Which of the videos?
The MPP Ashanti Regional.
I want to miss video on the road contract.
Look at how government contracts are given. If you watch the narration by Chairman Wuntumi,
Right.
he said he and one Kofi Job went to the president, the vice president was there, the chief of staff was there, they just spoke, and they said, oh, this road. Then the president said, from here, go to Asenso Boachi. And then from the meeting, they went. He said they got to Asenso Boachi around 2 a.m. They met him, and the road contract was awarded.
They called finance minister and all.
And the project was awarded. I mean, I have never seen this level of brazen impunity.
FM 92.7.
Is that what the public procurement law says? And listen, on the 7th of January 2017, Mr. Akufo-Addo in his inaugural speech said something. He said, I shall protect the public purse.
Okay.
By insisting on value for money. Where is the purse?
The purse is missing. Eduji, have a good morning. We continue to mourn